Hello and welcome. I'm Brett Connor.
And I'm Royce Connor, and this is The Best We Can Do. Here's the best we can do on today's episode. We are going back in time.
Oh, back in time.
People come to us quite often and say, we would love to learn what you were like as children. And we are here to deliver for you today, besties. Today, Brett and I are going to share some of our favorite stories from our childhood.
That's right. We actually had a childhood. We were not birthed into the world in our middle age. Just so you know, sometimes my children struggle with the notion that I was, in fact, once a teenage boy myself.
For some reason, I think it's because you are so serious, it's hard to imagine you as a child, even though as a child you are also so serious.
I thought it was a lot of fun. No?
You did the best you can do.
Hey, that's not bad. But it is something of a fascinating element of childhood stories, isn't it? Memories change, evolve, reshape over time.
One of the best parts of being a twin is that almost all of our childhood stories were shared by the other person. So there was always a witness who can corroborate what happened or deny what happened or saw something different. That's always so much fun.
I agree. It's nice to have someone to either support or completely correct your memories.
Well, the reality of childhood stories, and this is hard for people to accept, is we don't have accurate memories of what happened to us as children. We reflect on these things that happened when we were 8, and it's hard for us to remember. In fact, we are misremembering most of it. We're piecing together different things that happened and putting them into the same story. We're taking what happened one Christmas and jamming it into what happened on another Christmas as if that's what happened. And the shameful thing, and also the fun part, is we don't have to be attached to the truth of it all. It's just fun to bask in the warmth of a wonderful memory of childhood.
Royce, I completely agree. I prefer a memory that is a very human experience, which means we're not tape recorders. We don't capture every nuance. And even if we did, that nuance won't last forever. It changes. I love that about the human memory. It is messy and squishy and fallible, but it's so real. And even if it's not technically perfectly recording reality, it does make the emotion and the feeling of it right. It is correct. It's the way it's supposed to be.
We don't have to be bogged down in truth. We're not the OJ jury.
It's truth enough. Truthfulness, it can be a little relative, don't you think?
You have one of my favorite examples of this in the Canada fishing story.
I do like this story because it's the same event being recalled years later by two different people. And they could not be more different tellings.
You have to tell the story.
So every single Memorial Day weekend, Dad would take us up to the Thousand Islands region of Canada on the St. Lawrence River, and we'd go fishing for pike, which is a big sport fish. But to do it required, a 6-hour drive, and going out first thing in the morning just before the sun came up, and packing lunches, and cold, very, very cold. Maybe you go out there, you don't catch any fish. My memory of it now is the fondest memory I have as a child. It's by far the most warm, exciting memory I can recall is going fishing with my dad in Canada. And I mentioned this to Dad once, years ago. Hey, remember those great trips we took? I just love those Canada fishing trips. And he said, what? You were miserable the entire time. I thought you hated it. I cannot believe for decades we've been walking around with two different memories. All that work he did for us and all the sacrifices he made to make those great weekends year after year. He thought what a waste that was. He hated it.
I think what's happening here is that he was remembering my general reaction to waking up at 5:30 in the morning to catch something that smells like it died and then have to smell like fish, not just for the rest of the day, but for the rest of my adolescence, it seemed. Oh, it was no fun. And it was cold. It was Canada.
It was very cold. And there was a tradition year after year after year that you upheld. You would always catch the first fish.
I was very lucky. I always caught the first fish. You caught the first husband, but I caught the first fish.
I would catch the biggest and the most, but you would always catch the first.
I'm very important among the fish community.
And then there would come a time where we'd get mad at you for not catching a fish yet. We're sitting there, no one's catching anything. We're like, Royce, we just go ahead and catch a fish already?
Well, that's enough of boring people with the fish story.
I love a good fish story, and there might be more later, folks.
I have something very cute to share. Brett, you might remember this, and I'm going to be sharing quite a bit of this during today's episode. Do you remember the green books that Mom made?
I adore the green books.
Besties, we have one of the greatest gifts a parent could give a child. From the day of our birth until well into our 20s, our mom kept this kind of diary about both of us. Mine was titled Royce, Brett's was titled Brett, and in it she would write down various cutesy little things that would happen as a way to remember them when we reflected back. And as a gift, Mom gave my husband Aaron my green book just a few years ago as a present, and I've been going through it, and I want to share some of the childhood stories in it throughout the episode. I want to share the first one right now.
I'm so excited. I have no idea what you're about to say.
So I have my green book. This is the very first entry written by my mother, January 26th, 1974. It starts with, in parentheses, the important detail, Royce is a twin. Royce Paul Connor was born.
It's like David Copperfield. I love it.
Royce was the second baby and was born breech. I can still remember his right leg coming out first. There's a horror detail that people don't need, but all right.
Oh, gross.
Royce wouldn't come to right away, and it scared Mommy. She's writing about herself in the third person as Mommy. It scared Mommy.
It's very scary.
I love this. When he finally started crying, he wouldn't stop.
And still hasn't 52 years later.
Hush up. The nurses said he was a slow starter.
That's the truth.
Nurses were making fun of me minutes into life.
You're a slow starter, it's true.
Royce's cord slipped out of the doctor's hand when it was to come out, and Mommy was squirted with blood from head to foot.
Oh, my goodness. Like it was like an alien birth.
Squirted with blood from head to foot. We all laughed. Like it's the Addams Family.
I think that's hilarious.
That is the first entry in the Green Book. Now I will say the second entry from 3 days later is just 3 words. Royce was circumcised.
Oh, I always wondered.
Me too.
That would be a good way to tell us apart.
They think of all those good things too late. Well, that's my first Green Book story. More to come, folks, but I have really an entire book of stories like that. You'll get to hear a few more stories later on.
I like the story of your birth could be a Tarantino movie.
The image of the umbilical cord just writhing back and forth like a snake, spewing blood all over her, all over the doctor, all over the nurse. She probably had a priest in the room too. All over the priest. It's a beautiful sight. And she reminds me of the breech thing every Mother's Day. Apparently, it can be a bit uncomfortable to give birth in general, and a breech birth, all the more. I think more than just a Tylenol can help you with. So she had quite a January 26th, 1974. She should be the one still crying.
Alas. Now, those are stories and memories that Mom recorded for you, but Royce, you must have some good stories of your own that you're walking around with that you'd like to share with our good listeners, yes?
When I think of favorite childhood stories, I remember Christmas. Maybe we were 8 or 9. I don't remember that detail. It was actually a lovely Christmas, as it always was in our home.
Yes.
And we opened up all the gifts. We were jolly. We were happy. There was eggnog. And we thought Christmas was done, and Dad excused himself for a moment and left. And he came back in with this medium-sized wrapped box. One more gift. And I did notice something unusual about the box in that, unlike most other boxes, it was moving on its own, and it creeped me out a little bit. And then up popped this little cute blonde head, and there was a Cocker Spaniel puppy, who we would end up naming Kelly, because Mom always wanted a daughter, and Kelly was the name that daughter was going to be. She didn't get any girl children, but she did get a girl dog, so she named the dog what she would have named a daughter if she had one, Kelly. And that Christmas morning was so joyful because this dog ran out, gave us all some sniffs and some licks, and I'm sure immediately began pissing on the carpet, which she would do religiously for the rest of her life. That was a great Christmas memory.
I remember Kelly doing laps around the room, just running and running and running and running, completely excited and absolutely peed on the carpet.
I probably did a little myself. It was a very exciting morning.
I love that dog. She was adorable.
That was a lovely Christmas and a lovely memory. Brett, do you have a memory of childhood you want to share?
I do, and I warned everyone there'd be another fish story, but this is a very different kind of fish story because it really holds the notion of the phrase, a fish story. you know the meaning of that phrase, a fish story.
What is this phrase? The phrases you think everyone knows. A fish story?
Fish story is a very, very common phrase, but it means this obvious untruth, a big exaggerated tale. Oh, I went out and I caught this gigantic fish and it was 5 feet long and we worked for 3 days to get it in the boat. An obviously exaggerated and extended false story.
So it's
a fish tale.
It's a male story then.
Oh, my Lord. Can I continue? Am I allowed to tell my story?
I'm waiting for the details no one needs. Continue.
Okay. All right. So this is my fish story. Back to me and Dad. We are going fishing, not pike fishing like I was describing in Canada. This is trout fishing, which we would do up in Sullivan County, Pennsylvania. Best trout fishing in the world. And he and I had gone off on our own, just the two of us. And we hiked along this stream for a while and we went up the mountain for a bit. And, Dad wanted to try this place. He'd never been. And we just keep walking and walking and walking. And we eventually come to this pool.
A swimming pool?
No, a pool. It's a mountain stream pool, a swimming pool. My God, we're in the middle of nowhere.
You said pool.
Pool can mean many things. In a spring, this spring had formed a pool of water. And we decided, well, let's give it a shot. So we took out our fishing poles and we cast in and boom, we both, first cast, caught a trout. And a special kind of trout, what we call a native, a little brooky native, meaning it wasn't stocked, it wasn't raised in a hatchery and eventually released into the stream. It was an actual trout that was been born in that very pool.
These are the details our besties have come to expect from your stories.
That's right.
What kind of trout?
It's important because you don't get them very often. And although they're fairly small, they fight very, very, very hard. These are tough, born in a creek in Sullivan County fish. They fight and they're rare to catch. But boy, we caught one, boom, first cast. All right, reel it in, too small to keep, so we take it off the hook, no problem. Do another cast, boom, caught another fish. Different fish this time, but still a small native trout. And we cast again, boom, caught another one. Cast again, boom, caught another one. And eventually we realized that every time we cast, we would catch a fish. And Royce, you know, this never, ever happens.
It never happens.
Never happens. So we find this magical spring with the fish we catch on every single cast. They're too small to keep, but we have this magical experience together.
Oh.
Just wonderful, wonderful afternoon together. And then it's time to come home. When we come home, we don't have any fish. We come back and we tell everyone the story. And nobody believed us.
They said you lied. Who tells fish lies?
Nobody believed that it had ever happened. Because it just doesn't seem possible. You found some magic stream in a pool and you caught all these natives, which never happens. And you caught it every cast, which never happens. And you don't have any fish to show for it, which never happens. Nobody believed it. And that's why I love the story. Only Dad and I know what happened and nobody else bought it. Nobody. It's just something he and I share.
I bet the trout believed it.
They did. They had to. They've got a mark.
They were hooked from the start.
I love that story.
That's a cute one. Yay.
Thank you. What good stories have you got? Come on, you can give me one more good story.
Sometimes an event happens in childhood that ends up defining who you'll be as an adult. I think this is a good one. This is a story about why I am absolutely ill-equipped for the service industry. We were Cub Scouts, which is one way to torture children and abuse them without being taken away by county child services.
Sometimes.
And our Cub Scout troop had an annual fundraiser where we would serve spaghetti to people in town. You come, you give $5, sit down, get as much spaghetti as you like.
I remember those days, yep.
We would fill a room with people and little cute Cub Scouts would bring you plates of spaghetti. And I didn't want to do it. I think because I suspected this would not be something I would ultimately love. I don't mind working, but I didn't think I would like serving other people. I'll admit, I thought it was going pretty well at the start. It wasn't hard. You grab a plate, you bring it to some disgusting pig who wants to stuff their face with pasta, and you go back and get a plate for the next disgusting pig. Going very well. Until I don't remember what this woman said, but this I don't know how old, but old enough for a kid to think old, gray hair, and I assume a tooth. I don't know.
I'm assuming she was younger than you are now.
Shut up. And I don't know what she said to me, but in my mind, it was so mean. It was so unnecessarily cruel. It was just not something you would say to a child. I took great offense to it. And my way of letting her know that, I dumped a plate of hot spaghetti onto this woman's lap.
You did not.
I did. I was so mad at her, and I stormed out.
Wow. So this wasn't an accident.
Oh, no.
You just
I dumped
poured spaghetti on this
right
woman
onto her.
because she offended you in some way.
I think she deserved it.
Wow. That is so bad.
It was really bad. I actually ended up feeling bad about it after 20 or 30 years of therapy.
Oh, no. Wait, were you in the Cub Scout uniform
Oh,
at
yeah.
the time? I definitely remember working it. I do not remember you doing that, though.
She was probably lucky in that the pasta was not cooked particularly well, which means it was colder than it probably would have been
Right.
otherwise, which has probably saved her. Otherwise, we probably would have hard-boiled her last egg.
She swam in lukewarm pasta.
Ugh. Well, if you're listening now, sorry about that, and I appreciate the $5 to the Cub Scout troop.
And if you're listening, I really would love to know, what did you say to Royce that made him so upset? Royce, let's recover from your story of cruelty with a nice tale from the Green Book.
If you insist, this is a very sweet, very short story from the Green Book. This is a story from March 4th, 1982. So what does that put us at? 6? No, 8. So this is Mom talking. I made a statement to Royce that you have to pay for crimes committed. And he asked me, do police take credit cards? I was a wise ass then, too.
That's a great line.
I guess it also fits into the story of the woman in the spaghetti. I have to pay for my crimes one day, but she was paying for my crimes that day. Thank you for the $5 again.
I'm glad that even at such a young age of 8, that she knew you would probably need advice on how to deal with the police.
She called that right.
She did call it right.
She at least knew I'd have to come to terms with the concept of consequences.
True. But listeners, so you know, police only accept cash.
They'll definitely appreciate hearing that. Thank you. Those are some fun stories so far. I wonder if there are stories that are not as fun. Clearly, a lot of childhood stories also come from a place of fear and they scare you. You have nightmares. And I remember stories of childhood that are quite scary. Brett, why don't you tell us a childhood story of terror?
You know what I think of in terms of the most scared I was as a child? There was this TV movie that came out in the 80s. I'm not sure exactly what year, but it was called The Day After.
Oh, my Lord.
Anybody,
Yes.
Gen X, our generation, if you say those 3 words, The Day After, they will probably turn pale and go, oh my gosh, that was the most traumatizing thing. The Day After was a nuclear war movie. It was about the United States gets into a large nuclear war with Russia and the aftermath of that war. And needless to say, it was pretty terrifying.
Oh.
It was very graphic, so graphic that it was shocking that it was even on television, controversial at the time, but it was one of those movies, everybody watched it. This was before streaming and all that, when there was 10,000 things on. It's back when there were only 4 channels, and one of them that night was showing the nuclear war Holocaust movie.
It was a big deal. Ronald Reagan, the president at the time, spoke publicly about it. Right afterwards, he had prepared messages.
I remember it scared me senseless. It was terrifying. I mean, people getting blown up in giant nuclear mushroom cloud blasts, and the survivors go through absolute hell. It's the most sad, tragic thing, and it was a very well done movie, but it was terrifying. I was probably 12-ish years old when it came out, about that. No way should I have watched that movie.
Do you remember what you did as you watched it? Did you hide under a blanket or something?
I don't remember hiding under a blanket. I definitely remember afterwards being stunned, literally stunned, shocked, and frozen. And then it launched a years-long obsession with, oh, we're going to have a nuclear war, we're going to da-da-da-da. It probably did that to a lot of people, I imagine.
You're right. I remember it was our 5th grade year that came out, and why I think that's significant. Anyone who works with kids knows that there's something about 5th graders, 10 years old or so. They are natural politicians and activists. They can take up a cause and run with it. So for us, being at that age where we were able to take on fighting nuclear war as a strong activist issue, all 5th graders are natural activists. And that became an issue for us and our entire grade.
I can't believe you remember what grade we were in.
We were in
That's
5th grade.
amazing. 5th grade. I believe it. I had a rough 5th grade, folks. Royce, what's a scary story you remember?
I'll tell you about rough. I think it's important to note You're never too old for a childhood story. Here's a story of terror from my life, although I was in my early 20s at the time.
This is where we're going with childhood stories, your 20s?
You know what? I'm not getting paid for this. I'll tell whatever story I want.
Fair.
Ultimately, it's about these memories that stay with us and haunt me, and this is it. I love movies, as you know, and for my entire life, I've always known what movies are playing and what's popular, except for a brief window when I was an undergraduate. I was just too busy with work and college and studies. I had no time for anything. I had no idea what movies were playing. This would have been around 1991, 1992.
You're describing my life now, by the way. I have no idea what movies are playing. None.
That's because you're sad and pathetic.
Fine.
I'm sure you know what some idiot art house movie about some French nun who makes yogurt with her aura. You know that. Anyway, I go back home to Bloomsburg to see my parents. Mom loves going to the movies. I take her to the movies, but she doesn't know what's playing, and I don't know what's playing. So we have to go in blind. And we looked at the movie titles. None of them meant anything to us. We picked the one that was starting the soonest. So we bought 2 tickets and we went into the movie blind and we sat down and it started. And that is how I saw Basic Instinct.
Oh, no.
Mom and I watched Basic Instinct. I knew nothing about it. I didn't know what to expect. And I saw Basic Instinct with my mother. Talk about terror.
Wow.
Fortunately, like with all movies, she fell asleep within 10 minutes.
Oh,
that helped a lot.
That's good. So she didn't say, I remember when your little feet were coming right out of there.
That's so nasty. And still someone is sprayed with blood from head to toe. Basic Instinct is a story about me. I don't get any royalties. Call Sharon Stone.
That was a big mistake on your part, Royce.
It was fun. A bit awkward, but it brought us closer together.
I'm glad you can bond.
We want to hear another Green Book story?
I need to hear another Green Book story. Okay.
This takes us to November 1977. Here's a little story about little 3-year-old Royce, told by my mom in the Awesome Green Book. I was at my wit's end trying to get Brian to eat his lunch before it got so late he would be tardy for school. Finally, I just said there's a family in India who would be happy to take him in exchange for a child who was hungry, and I was going to call immediately. Just then, the phone rang, and Royce said, "Uh-oh, there's India."
Oh my God. That's a great story. I don't remember it happening, too young for that, but I definitely remember that story being told over and over and over.
That was a favorite in the Connor family. Uh-oh, there's India.
Good story, Royce. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know what I'm thinking, Royce?
What are you thinking, Brett?
I'm thinking the time has come.
Oh, I agree.
I'm feeling it. I think it's time for everyone's favorite segment on The Best We Can Do. That's My Myrna.
That's my Myrna. That's my Myrna. Everyone has one. That's my Myrna.
Woo!
Folks, besties, we love you and we love our mother. So vicariously, you love our mother. Let's give her a call because who else would have better childhood stories than our mom?
I'm getting the phone out right now. Here we go.
Let's do it.
Hello.
Hey, Mom.
Hey,
How
Mom.
are you?
Hey guys. How are you?
We're doing well. Get comfortable because we are excited to talk with you today, Mom. We are chatting today about childhood stories. So we've talked about a few stories already, and one great source, as you know, is that green diary book that you wrote for us. You wrote down all these great stories. We've had a good time sharing a few of those today. We're going to be sharing some later.
You know, at my age, I can't remember everything. I'm 82 years old. I can't remember everything that happened to you kids, but you know, I did remember a couple of things. Because you're right. I did write everything in that little green book I had for each child. So you should know all those stories.
I actually forgot several of them. It was nice to go through them again, getting ready for today's episode.
Good.
Well, we thought one thing that might be fun is to hear a story or two directly from you about what you remember from us about childhood or cute little stories. We thought who better to share the story of us than our wonderful mother. So, I don't know, as you thought about it today, what came to mind?
Yeah, I did think about it, and I thought of two things. The first one I remembered was that when you were babies, your older brother Brian couldn't tell you apart And one day he comes running to me to tell me baby Blue was crying. And it startled me because I thought he was choking. But no, he was not. It seems the only way Brian could tell his brothers apart was by the color of the clothes they were wearing.
Ah, I see. So you thought baby blue meant one of us was joking. But in fact, one of us was wearing something blue.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
How long does that happen? Was Brian unable to tell us apart and he had to call us by a color or something?
You were babies. He must have been 2.
He must have gotten over that by high school.
You better ask him, not me.
Fair enough. That is a super cute story.
I didn't get over it because I can still remember it.
I have to ask, Mom, so if I was wearing red instead of blue, and our brother walked in and said, baby Red needs you, would you have thought I was on fire, or what would have come to mind?
Who knows? Who knows what I would have thought? I don't know. What does a 2-year-old think?
They think I have to piss, and I'm hungry. And why did you vote for that person?
Oh, my gosh. I'm staying out of politics.
That sounds wise. I think you said you had another story you remember?
Oh yeah.
It already sounds menacing.
I remember when you were seniors in high school, Brett was president of the class.
That's right.
So at graduation, the class officers had their photos taken by the press enterprise for the newspaper. And I remember, of course, the picture was taken. And the next day I'm looking at the picture in the newspaper and I'm a little startled. And I called your father over and I said, Rick, isn't that Royce? It was. You two had switched places thinking it would be funny. And it wasn't to me. Luckily, I found out later that when people did find out about it, they thought it was funny too. But oh boy, at the time, I didn't think it was funny. I said I would have to face the principal, the superintendent of schools, your teachers. Ugh.
Why did you think people would care that it was one of us in the photo and not the other?
That's what I thought. It was a lie. That was not the president of the class. That was his twin brother.
Oh, it's a fun lie, though. You can't be too upset over that.
Well, it's funny now. I think about it now. It doesn't disturb me at all. But at the time, it did.
I love that story. I actually remember that. And I think you would be happy because generally I hate having my photo taken. And there I was volunteering to have my photo taken.
For the newspaper, of all things.
Of all things.
I plan on posing for Royce's mugshot later in life.
Would you take his prison term too?
Oh, no.
No, I didn't think so. Hopefully that never happens.
I could use the cheap rent.
I know. Well, that's what you get for living in the Bay Area.
I hear you.
Move back to Pennsylvania. It's much cheaper here.
There's no need to be cruel, Mom. Come on. Now, Mom, one last thought on the subject of stories from our youth. Can you just confirm once and for all that I was your favorite? It's a very long silence. I don't like it.
And that's how I'm going to keep it.
Well, as they say, silence is consent.
Oh, my God.
Oh, jeez.
Thank you for setting the record straight, Mom. That's true for all you listeners.
Mom is running for governor of California.
That's right.
It was fun being their mother, I'm telling you, and Brian, too.
Well, we loved being your sons and continue to love it. Mom, you fill our days with so much joy, and I know people love hearing from you on the podcast. Thank you. Oh, absolutely. You're responsible for most of our listeners, I think. I know I'm not helping.
Must be a lot of mothers out there.
I think so. Well, we love you so much, Mom, and please tell Dad that we say hello, and we're thinking of you both, and we wish you well, even though you live in a cold place.
Thank you. Love you.
Love you, Mom. Bye-bye.
Bye, Mom.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Mom was great. She's so good.
She is full of love and full of life, and anytime I get to hear a story from her, I feel more complete. She's awesome.
She's awesome.
And Dad, you're wonderful too.
We love you, Dad, and we love these stories, and I've loved going down memory lane with you, Royce.
I agree. It's always fun to talk about childhood stories and see where we came from. It helps us understand who we are and take good guesses about where we're going. I know I'm not going into any Italian restaurant to serve pasta anytime soon.
And nor would they want you, but we could see little hints of Royce emerging.
And it was tragic.
It was tragic. And there, tragedy, that's you.
Very kind. Thank you.
I was thinking that if you're a parent with children, The stories are so good. You are never, ever going to have better stories in your life than the stories you have with you and your kids. Enjoy those times. They're the best memories. Whether you remember them as horrible or not, your kids might be loving them.
I agree, Brett. Please share the stories from childhood with the people you love, especially your children. And it's not too late to get your own version of a green book and start writing down stories of what your kids do and say it will be a lifetime of joy that can get passed down to generations like a hereditary disease.
Love it. In your DNA.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing stories today, Brett.
Well, thank you for telling some stories today, Royce.
A hoot.
That will wrap things up for this episode. Thanks to our theme composer, Seth Weinstein.
And thank you, besties, for spending time with us today.
We know you're doing your best out there.
We can't wait to see you again soon. Like and subscribe so we can stay in touch.
You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, and Blue Sky.
Find those links, other information, and email us at www.thebestweecando.com.
For now, I'm Brett Connor.
And I'm Royce Connor.
Next time, we will try to do better, but for now, this is the best
we can do. Take care, everybody.
Bye, everybody.